Working free to get paid bigly. Listen in as the two business guys mastermind on all the ways that you can work for free and get really paid. Enjoy. This business podcast, the two business guys mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. So everybody, you should have heard what Rob and I were just talking about off screen, and it gets into our subject matter today. Can you work for free and get paid? Can you work for free? Can your business work for free and get paid? And here's what we're talking about now. Off screen, Rob and I have been debating about we debate about the stuff sometimes that we hire people to do. And one of the big conversations that came out of that, without getting too far off of what we're going to be talking about today, is, well, the reason you're feeling the way you're feeling, well, let's just let Rob tell it. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling, Rob? Because I made it higher, and it's
not working out quite the way that we wanted to work. I like it. I like that the wording you just said. You're not impressed, and that's a feeling that a lot of people have, right? And part of what I do is I teach leaders how to get the best out of those they lead. And when we have these conversations, a lot of times we as visionaries, we as leaders, we as kind of, the people who are trying to make things happen that have never happened before in life, we have this ability to see what's not necessarily there, right? We have a vision. We're able to see something in the future and then to build that and to bring that into reality. When you apply that to people, it's an amazing skill. It's an amazing quality where you can see the potential in people, right? But oftentimes what we do then is we select people based off of potential and expect them to perform at their potential instead of being accurate about where they are currently, right? And one of the things I talk about
potential versus performance.
Exactly. And one of the things I talk about in my courses with my entrepreneurs is you have to understand, right? This goes back to basic, like ninth grade science, right? You got potential energy and you have kinetic energy. In order for potential energy to become kinetic energy, some transformation has to happen, right? It's also defined, right? We talk about inertia. A thing at rest tends to stay at rest. A thing at motion tends to stay in motion. To change from either state, there has to be an external force placed on the thing. But oftentimes what we want is for the person to have some sort of intrinsic motivation, some sort of internal drive that takes them from where they are when we find them to where we think they can be. Instead of realizing that your job as a leader is to do one of two things. It's to either A, hire competency and expect competency. So you're not looking for growth. You're not looking for potential. You're looking for right now production. Or if you're hiring potential, be aware of the fact that there is a growth process that has to happen in order for that potential to be realized. And that is why they need you as the leader. That is why your vision is so powerful. It is not because they're going to do the growing on their own. It's because you're going to set the stage, you're going to create the environment, and you're going to put in the requisite energy to growing them. But oftentimes we do both at the same time instead of doing one or the other. We hire somebody who has potential, but we expect them to be competent now. Whereas they have given us no indication of competency now, and we have not forced them to do anything to show competency now, other than have a couple of conversations and say, well, yeah, it seems like
okay, here's my
what you're talking about.
And I tell you, that jumps us into the conversation, right? So, to get some of that, sometimes, and I've done this, we got to talk about this, man. I've done work for free, right? And got hired for the long term. And I tell you what, it was hard to work for free. So here's the question for you guys out there. Can your business work for free? Now, metaphorically or real? How can metaphorically? Okay, you're going to reduced amount from what you normally do to impress and show, that you can get the job done.
Right.
Right. But it also, now it's unfortunate in certain, I used to say this all the time to businesses. Hey, look, why don't we bring them on and just see what they do? Oh, you can't do that. There's laws against that. Right. Once they come on the premises, they are an employee. Well, that's unfortunate. But when it comes to like sales, when I was helping sales folks.
Yeah. And it's also a lot of people
see what they do.
They don't know
the law. Down.
Right. Like, again, and this is, I get frustrated because everybody that's not a lawyer is always going to try to tell you what the law is. Now, I am not a lawyer currently. I used to play one on TV. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a retired attorney, so I'm not giving anybody legal advice ever again.
I don't argue with them.
Right. But so often what you see in situations is you have people who their job is compliance. Their job is make sure you play within the lines.
Right.
But they're incentivized to make sure you never come close to the lines. That means they're doing a really good job. So what they do is they create lines inside the lines to make sure
you're extra close,
extra close, right? And then they convince you that those are the real lines. So they'll say stuff like, you can't bring somebody on without
show me capacity,
fully hiring them. And that's not true. And if you think that it's not true, think about all of the temp staffing agencies that exist, and their entire business model is bringing people on without fully hiring them. Think about all the college internships that happen at NBA clubs, at NFL clubs, right, where people are literally going to work for $500 stipends or for free sometimes at these spaces, and it's actually sanctioned by the school. So if you just take a step back and you realize that those programs exist, so it must be legal, because otherwise, right, the National Labor Relations Board would be all over those places. But again, people will say, well, you can't do that. And I like, there's a Lao Tzu quote that said, or maybe it's Confucius, it's one of the two, I can't remember, but it basically said this: the person who thinks that a thing is impossible should not bother the person who is doing it.
All right. So you heard it there. When we originally posed this question, right, as we think about how we're going to mastermind on this thing, and how we then from that mastermind how is it going to be of service and of help to you, right? When we say, you throw it out there, hey, can you work for free? I bet you're over there going, I've got this kind of business, I can't work for free. Yeah, but you got a restaurant business, that's fine. Can you give away free samples? Can you get people interested in what the chef has prepared for the coming week? It's kind of the test model, right? Or, Gary Vee talks about jab, 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 right hook.
Right hook. I want y'all to pay attention to what Randy just did. He just dropped a nugget on you. I just want to pause. I just want to let it marinate for a little bit, because he just dropped a gem. We're going to come back to it, but he just dropped something that is really deep. So go ahead. Keep going, brother.
So think about this now. You're going out there working for free. We got to kind of get that framework. And what it is you're basically proving value first. And I can tell, Rob, my business has gone skyrocketed, I should say, because I've been giving more away. I thought, to a guy that's like, look, I'm all about that profit, right? I'm all about making sure everything is monetized. I help people do this all the time. And the prospect of giving something away free just was foreign to me.
Yes.
Until I started doing it.
Exactly.
And started seeing how much comes back, right? And we can go into some specific examples, but let's talk a little bit about what is the framework of free.
That's a good question. And so I think that for a lot of people, at least from my perspective, that you first have to take inventory, right? You got to take inventory of where you are. Now, there are certain people that are along the spectrum, and you're already proven, that you're good at what you do. And you also have a whole bunch of other people who can vouch for you being good at what you do. When you're looking at this, giving stuff away for free is a different concept. And that's why I told you that Randy was dropping some nuggets. He was dropping some nuggets specifically for people who are very good at their craft already. If you pay attention, and we'll come back and he'll explain it to you, what he just talked to you about is you got to redefine free. But we'll come back to that. But for you people who are starting your business, you're just beginning to come into that space, you know that you have a passion for something, you know that you have maybe even a talent for it, but it's unproven. You've only done it for you and maybe a couple of people in your family or whatever the case may be. Free is a different thing. What you're actually gaining by giving your talents away, or by interning, or by going and working for someone for free, is you're gaining reps in the game. You're
Yes.
gaining opportunities to prove your worth, to show your worth, and you're gaining testimonials. You're gaining understanding of the value proposition. You're gaining so much information into your ideal client and into your craft that you're actually, without understanding it, you're getting to train, and you're getting someone to help you train, and you're not having to pay someone to help you train. So even though we think that we're giving our work away for free, we're giving this value away for free, especially for the people that are at the beginning of the spectrum, when you don't understand how valuable what you're giving away even is, when you don't know that you're actually really good at it, what you're actually doing is you're not having to pay people to help you to learn that information. You could go and take courses, you could take classes, you can go to universities, you can go to online gurus, etc., and pay thousands of dollars to learn that information. Or you can get into the marketplace, do it for free for a couple of people, talk to them back and forth, and understand what the value is. And now you've just gotten an education ostensibly for free.
And applied it. So, hey, one of my big things, man, they call me the monetize your life guy, is I show you how to monetize all of that stuff, right? It's so much fun. And when I started doing this stuff, right, it really came out of a conversation what I had with a guy. He says, if you're on this many committees, you're getting intellectually taken. He says some harsher words. He says, don't let them intellectually take you. Right? Intellectually take you. I'm gonna use that term. He said, because they will. They being whomever you're working for, exactly. Because the return. And I says, I started saying, well, I still want to be of value. I still want to be of service. That's when I started building out the monetization model. Right. And I got a method, monetization model, the monetized model, a method. And I started developing this because I wanted to be in a position where I could give, practice, learn, like Rob is talking about, or jab, jab, jab. And then when I hit them with the right hook, it is not only the right hook of, okay, you can pay me now because I've proven my value. You've worked for free, and then you found a way to get paid. But if you're working for free and you are monetizing that activity, you guys, are you tracking this?
Now this and Randy, I want you to break that down a little bit, because I want all of the listeners to get this right here, because this is gold. This is so powerful. So talk to them, especially when you're going and talking, and we're talking about the group that they know they're good at what they do. They're not learning anymore. They're just right. Talk to them about, like, break down that whole process of, I'm going to do this for free so that you understand how good I am at what I do, so that you bring me on. Like, break that down, because that was deep.
So here it is. It's like you are recording the practice, and then you're going to use that recording as a part of your product, right? So let's just say you're building a product. You're going into a new area, right? You're going into NFTs, right? What are these non-fungible tokens? What is that stuff, right? So you are literally, saying to someone, hey, let me come on and practice for you. And if I can do a good job for you, then maybe you can hire me to be the person that just takes your stuff and create NFTs from them, right? If you guys don't know what NFTs, non-fungible tokens, go look it up. It's kind of the area that, a lot of things are going into, or some things are going into, right? So you're coming on and saying, I don't really know a lot about this, but I'd like to practice in an applied way, right? Now, we've heard that term before, where you practice not for the sake of practicing, but you're practicing in a way that you are trying to get better. Now, if you say, hey, I'll come on and I'll explore this in your area. In other words, it's kind of like subject to, I'll embed myself in your business, but you're also capturing that doing. You can literally start saying to yourself, hey, I did this. It's your blooper reel, if you will. Yeah. And how many times there was a whole TV show called Bloopers? They monetize mistakes. Are you kidding me right now? So you're monetizing your process. You're recording, you learning this stuff, but then you also can see your progression, right? You see your practice. You see, oh, I wasn't doing this a particular way. I had my hands up like I was playing a guitar or something, but it applies to anything. And then now you're using that. You're productizing the practice. Yes. Are you kidding me right now? And then at some point, you're going to be able to say to folks, hey, let me show you my journey. Yes. Are you interested? Come along. Now you're building community, because they're looking at you like, hey, you're not the perfect person. You're a person that got to perfection by working. And if you can do it, I can do it. Can you productize that? Absolutely. you're it's like you're saying to yourself, hey, listen, I want to come on, I want to do this thing for you, right? I'm not going to charge you. I just want to apply some things I've been learning, right? So now you've gotten to a level and you say, I just want to apply it in your business now. And he says, what I'd like the permission to be able to record myself doing this stuff.
There you go.
Speaking, Rob, you know, when you first started your speaking business, when you started, you had to practice, right? But you said to some folks, and this is getting into the examples because we talked about this. Hey, I'm going over to, you know, a Carolina, or I'm going over to somewhere. And I says, well, what do you, because of course I'm saying, what are you getting for that? He says, well, I'm doing this for free. And I had the look on my face like, are you kidding me right now? But then once I got into the concept of productization, being able to take something and monetize it, because you've created this thing, record it. So I says, okay, make sure you record it, make sure you get it down. Now what we can do, everybody, is we can spin up a YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Right now, here's the possibilities of taking that practice, the productized practice, and now monetizing it.
Exactly. And the funny thing about it, because you said this earlier, it's like giving free samples. Because like we were talking about, when I went down to North Carolina, right? For the most part, especially the first time that I went and spoke, everybody got to see me. We got testimonials. But this was hey, everybody, here's this person that's doing this stuff. I can tell you that I've been back down to North Carolina since. I got paid more, and I'm going a virtual where I'm getting paid twice as much as I got to go down there. And in all of those instances, I've got more gigs and more jobs because there's more exposure to more people. And it's so interesting because so often we feel like if we don't get the money right now, then we're not getting paid for it. And this is the thing that I wanted people to understand. You have to understand your business enough to realize that you can, that the free stuff, quote unquote, that you're giving away is factored into the cost of the stuff when you get paid for it. So I give away an hour, 2 hours of my time to talk with potential clients that I'm working with, to give them strategy, to give them guidance, to give them all the rest of that. But if I was to just charge my basic rate, which can be anywhere from $200 to $300 an hour for coaching, if I was to charge that rate, right, I would only make $200. However, because of what we do in that space, they're going to hire me to consult for my daily rate, which is multiple thousands of dollars. So I give away 200 to get thousands.
It's like running an ad, everybody, right? If you're running an ad, I was telling Rob earlier, I just got a bill from Facebook. And at first, when I saw it on my email, I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't turn off a ad, right? But it was from some ads I had run prior to that. The main thing is that, look, you go do the work. You're practicing the craft. You're productizing that practice. And then you are now distributing it in a variety of ways. That is the gold. That is the monetization part, right? That's the method, if you will, some of it. That becomes what you can do in so many different areas. Now, this is something I'm excited about. When I used to, read about some of the, writers that would always on some kind of speaking tour, right? Long before the book they were getting ready to write comes out, they're talking about the idea. Because they don't know, they have an idea, a hypothesis that it might work.
Right.
Now they go on these tours.
Press.
And they go on these tours talking about them. What are they doing? Generating buzz. It's brilliant if you think about it. It was before COVID, right?
Right.
And then they're talking about this idea. They're getting feedback from the audience. The audience is like, nah, man, that cannot be applied here. That's garbage or whatever it is. They go back into the lab, refine it, get more information, go out again, test. What is that doing? They're working for free, and then boom, the product comes out, the book. You're going, oh my gosh, this is interesting. This is dope, because they went out and practiced for free on audiences, got feedback, came back in, created the process. But now that process has buzz. How many times have we seen something that we were like, there's no way you can do that? CRISPR. What do you mean you're going to go and edit genes? Somebody was talking about that because somebody had a hypothesis. Then they went on to, they start talking at conferences. They put paper out there so that people can attack it. You can't do this. You're playing God, blah, blah, all these different things. And then they went back in the lab and says, well, I think we can. We've got a process. Let's try some things, right?
Right. And
now,
here's the messaging that we need to
CRISPR.
do so that everybody understands what we're doing, because now we know what problems they need to deal with. I mean, and we've both done this. And so I think the big thing that I want the audience to understand is this is part of every process. Big multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations have research and development divisions. Their whole job is to try stuff and figure it out. And they spend a percentage of every dollar to do that because they know that that's going to make money on the back end. It's an investment into the future. And so in the beginning, when you're a beginning entrepreneur, your whole goal is, yes, you must work for free, but understand that you're not working for free. If you reconsider, what you're actually doing is you're researching for free. You're getting people to participate in your research study, and you're not having to pay them anything. You're getting buzz, you're getting advertising, right. You're getting all of this for free because you're willing to do that work and to exchange that, and you can see it differently. I remember, and you know, the Thriving in Chaos program.
Yeah.
That program was 2 years in the making. The first group of people that I did it with were business owners that I knew, that I said, hey, I got this process. I want to try it out with you. They were friends of mine.
I got it for free, by the way, guys. That's how I know.
Exactly, right? And we went through, and I learned, because when it started, the craziest thing, Thriving in Chaos is now a 12-week experience that started off as a half-day seminar. And what I learned from teaching that half-day seminar was it was way too much information to try to take in a half a day. While everybody that went through it said, man, this is amazing, their ability to apply it over the long term was very difficult. So then we turned it into a full-day seminar. Right. Full-day seminar was still too much, especially because I added more stuff to make it a full-day seminar instead of just breaking it down and making the full day into the stuff that we did. But then I went to a 6-week course, little mastermind course. And that 6-week course, it gave me more information. We put more people through it. But when it was a full-day seminar and when it was a 6-week seminar, I was charging people now to take this seminar, making money on it, right?
Did y'all just hear the steps? From free, right? Because he invited a couple people to test it on. So the question is, right, if you're just jumping into what we're talking about here, can your company work for free to get paid? Now, if you're over there shaking your head like this, if you're watching this on YouTube, right now, you can see me shaking my head. But if you're hearing us, right, I'm shaking my head. No, I can't. Yes, you can. And we're telling you the steps by which that works, Rob. And I tell you, you jump right into subject matter number 3, process to profits, right? And I wrote it like this: process your way to profits. And he just showed you, Rob just told you and showed you the process by which I talked a little bit earlier, how you can productize and monetize. Practice. Yes. You trying things, and your business consistently needs to try things. Do you have to have a big R&D budget? Nope. You have to have an idea and an audience to practice it on. And now keep in mind that so many people are on Zoom and so many ways you can do it. You can spin up your whole YouTube channel about practicing your craft. Now think about that.
I want to ask you something, Randy.
Let me finish that thought.
Go ahead. Finish that thought.
So let's say, for example, you spin up that YouTube channel and you're practicing things. How many people have we watched and we're just watching them, not the gurus, not the pros, not the ones that we already know that have because you kind of, sometimes you say to yourself, I can't do that. They're so above me. It's too much information. But the person that's kind of practicing with you, you say, hey, let's do this together. Let's try some things. And you watch them getting better and you're going, wait a minute. They're just showing me a process. And now they're showing me the profits. You can do the same thing. Go ahead, Rob. What would you ask me?
No, I wanted to ask you, why do you think it is that so many people are afraid to give away what they have for free?
Oh my gosh. I hear it all the time, especially with the new entrepreneur, not with the entrepreneur that's experienced. If you notice, the entrepreneur that has made their mark, made their money, they give away all kinds of stuff. And it's incredible. They're the ones you think they should be doing the courses. But I think it's because there's a fear that somebody's going to usurp my idea. I literally put a big post out there on one of the groups I'm in. And I said, what do you do when an idea you had but didn't implement, didn't execute on, you see somebody doing it and now they're making $1 gazillion. Right. And I mean, people were responding. This happened to me. I should have kept it. I should have got it, trademark. I should have. No, you should have went out there and put it out and gotten people excited and then says there's nobody that can do it like I can. Right. But it's that fear that somebody's going to usurp, grab that idea, run with it. Right. And once you get experience, that is exactly what you want people to do. You want people adopting. Now, don't get me wrong. Does it happen sometimes? Somebody comes out and says, I got more resources to you. Thank you for the kernel of the idea and the insight, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to fly with it. But they could then be helping you build your market.
Thank you. I think
you guys hearing that?
It's so important. Like that was again, he's dropping gems today, everybody. Pay attention, because the true Mr. Randy O is in the building and he's dropping gems. Here's the big thing that is so crazy. It was a mindset thing. And what I heard you say was, even if somebody else comes into the market and has more resources than you, can actually do it better than you, they actually are still helping you because they're able to build the market that you weren't able to build.
That's right. They got the resources.
And 10% of 1,000,000 is better than 100% of 1,000.
Yep. You're now pulling off a piece of a niche. You're niching out, right? You're saying to yourself, now I can't tackle the whole thing. It's like, I call it the boil the ocean. That's not mine. I've heard that term before. Boil the ocean moments, right? If you're not the sun, you can't boil the ocean, but you can take a piece out. Right. And I think I got that from Blue Ocean Strategy, one of those things, right? But you can take a portion out and boil that. Right. And keep yourself from dehydrating. Right. Exactly. So don't try to boil the ocean. Take a niche of a section and be the best in that niche. Here's what happens. The ocean looks over there and go, hey, can we reabsorb that piece? Because that might be something that we didn't think about because we're boil the ocean folks. We're the bigs. But you came out and created this nice little niche, got a nice little community of rabid fans buying from you. Y'all hearing what I'm saying now, right? You're taking a piece out and you created the processes. Now you're making profits. That ocean can come along and metaphorically, ocean can come along and says, hey, we'd like you to be reabsorbed into us. So here's several $1 million.
Let's pay you some multiples.
We learned that in reading the book, 12 months to 1 million.
Yes.
Create something that someone says, we got to have that at some point.
Yes.
Right. Somebody else went out and built the market. You came out, kernel of an idea. You release your fear. You says, I'm going to go ahead and try this thing. I'm going to put a little bit out there. I know it might get absorbed or stolen.
Yes. And that's actually understanding the entire spectrum of this. And this goes to kind of the fourth step that we talked about, right? Once you figure out how to scale that project, you learn, you go through practice, and you're doing it for free for two reasons. One, to get your name out there, and two, to get your reps up, right? But then you start learning how to get paid for what you do. But then there's a step 3 where you actually have to get to the point where you can scale what you do to where you're actually making a decent living, you're actually making good money. But there's 2 more steps that go after that. You have to then understand that you need to learn how to teach what you do. Because if you just are you're not duplicatable. When you're just you actually will hit capacity. And one of the things that was really interesting, and I'm a big Tyler Perry fan, right? And I'm a Tyler Perry fan, not because of the content that he creates, right? All of my ideas and all the rest of that type of stuff, like, don't get me wrong, it's funny, haha, I laugh, but that's not the reason why I'm like, Tyler Perry is amazing, right? Tyler Perry is amazing because what he understood was that in order for him to grow, in order for him to explode, in order for him to be as big as he could be, he needed to get out of the way. And what he did was he went and he partnered with TBS. And he said, TBS has stuff all over the country. TBS can get me interviews because he was making money. He was doing, the Chitlin circuit and doing the stage plays and the church circuit and all the rest of that type of stuff. But even if you had every African-American in the country watching what you do, you still only have 11 to 13% of the country. But TBS is in hundreds of millions of homes. right? Like it's in every home. It's on basic cable, all the rest of that. If you can get on TBS, you can get hundreds of millions of people to watch you in a year.
What's that called, everybody? Come on now, y'all been a part of this. Even when John and I were doing this, we talked a little bit about this, right? And as Rob and I explained a little bit further, that's distribution.
There you go.
That's a part of the process.
And that's understanding that their system can take what you're great at and do what you're not great at, which is get it to more people. And what Tyler Perry did is, instead of trying to become a master distributor, he stayed in his lane where he was a master creator and partnered with a master distribution channel. And that's how he scaled what he was able to do immensely. And the other thing that he was able to do, if you look at, he's got Tyler Perry Studios, guess what he started doing as well? He started being able to teach other people to do the things that he was doing. Because remember, he was doing it all before. He was creating, he was writing, he was directing, he was starring, he was promoting, he was, marketing, he was securing the venues, he was doing all these different things.
And that's why he put his name on it.
And that's why he put his name on it. But here's the key. He then began to teach and find people who could do what he was doing, so that he got to focus on creation. And now his team.
Look into who runs his studio.
Exactly.
That's the key right there, right? Look who runs Elon Musk's SpaceX. There's a woman that runs it, right? She told him, I was doing a study on it, just trying to figure out how she says, you know what you need? A business developer. Right. And I'm your person. She was brilliant and smart in her own right, but she had expertise in an area. Now, they still get on Tyler Perry about not having a writer's room and all that kind of stuff. But he found, hey, here's my voice for the stuff that I'm writing. I want people to know my voice. I'm going to go do that. And then he has someone run Tyler Perry Studios. Look into that, dig into that. Now that's process to profits. One of the things that personally that I do is, when I'm spinning up something, I say, could I write a book about this? And it becomes these moments where you have your index cards. You're going to go old school on y'all, but man, nothing works better. You have your index cards of, could I write a book about this? Right. Then I say, all right, either way, you could go blog. Could I blog about this? What would I say? Here's this new idea. Here's this thing, right? That's your practice. And could I take from that blog and create a book? That's your productization. And now from that book and from that blog, could I create a business out of this? Now, this is what, now you guys know me, again, when I'm talking about monetization, whether it's of your business or you as an individual, I'm saying you now have created from your ideation, from your energy, whatever it is, the process to profits. The process to profits, therefore, is let me do it this way. Let me see what I can create from it. First, the blog does it get buzz? Anybody commenting on it? Anybody, mad at you for writing it? Whoa, maybe you got something there. All right. And from that, could you expand the idea? Here's the product coming. Can I create a book from this? Right. From the book. Now you can take the book and throw it out on all these different channels, give it away. You can do what Rick Valentine talks about. Hey, can I get paid to get paid? You can do all these different things. Now get this. Then you say, wait a minute. What if I broke that thing back apart and created a business from that? How would that look? Something in that you wrote, something in that is on those pages, whether it's in the book or the blog, could be a kernel of a business. Now, there's some stuff that we're not going to go into right here that we show you how to do that, how to pull it out and create it in a whole different way. Not just the productization, that's the book, but we're talking about how to make a business out of this one kernel of an idea, because, Rob and I have developed some expertise in this. How do we now do that? That it could be a corner of a thing that you could give it to some, high energy person that wants to come in and do the work for free because they want to bring a name to themselves, whatever it is. You say, hey, I'll tell you what, spin that up into a business. Here are some of the resources that you might need, but we really need your energy, your ideas, and your willingness to work for free on this. So that's your intern opportunity. So you see both ways. On the platform side, the business is saying, hey, I need to find some free workers, interns, right? We've heard that before. And how can we make sure that they get paid? Well, you say, hey, I'll split 50% of that with you. You've just put them on game, right? You've just given them an opportunity to start their business. And then when they get good enough, you says, see you later. What do you mean? So you're like, well, we're going to spin you off to your own division. You run that. Now you're not trying to control 100% of it. You had an idea. You let somebody run with the idea. You let them see if they can go out there and do something with it. And then you said to them, take half.
Yes.
I don't need it all, or take whatever percentage you want to. And you can now have given them the time to practice, giving you the chance to see, right?
Yes.
All because it started with this, this, and this. And then now you got the help. Now you may have a whole business segment.
So Randy, what about the people that are out there that are listening right now and they're feeling like, well, people just don't understand the value of what I'm doing, and I'm worth more than that, and I should be able to charge more, and they're stuck in this space where they feel like they can't get the value for what they need. What would you say to them where they're like, I can't afford to give this away for free?
This is what I'm going to tell you. Get yourself a monetizer, right? And it's literally in my notes. Rob, I don't know, Rob and I sometimes we'll say, hey, here's a subject matter. And then we will do our own individual, but we are on point today, right? And because we want to bring you that energy. We want to bring you not this scripted out stuff that you're listening to. We want you to hear us argue about it sometimes. And I try not to argue with a lawyer, but every now and then I just can't help myself, right? But we want you to hear this energy. So I'm saying here is you get yourself a monetizer, right? This is what I'm known for, right? Helping people monetize things. So the key is like, here is how someone can extract your value, because sometimes you're too close to it. You can't see it. If you ever tried to do a resume yourself and then you had someone do a resume that you paid and they come up with all this cool stuff and you're like, how in the heck did you, because they're not you. You'll devalue yourself. But when you get yourself a monetizer, they are able to extract value. Sometimes the person that owns the gold mine is not the person that's digging in it, because you got people that can come in and go, oh yeah, we can get it out. And you go, okay, here's a percentage of sales, right? Exactly. Here's what you can keep if you do this, or here's what I'm going to pay you. But the owner of isn't always the extractor of. See that. Understand that that's the key, right? I was talking to a guy the other day, Rob, and he's an idea guy. And I told him, I said, there's two things I want you to do. And this is a case where I says, I'm going to be strong when I say this. First, get yourself a monetizer. In other words, a business developer, right? Same concept, right? Somebody to run the ideas. This is, and then you stay in shape, right? Because you don't want to keel over. You can see the stresses on them, all these different things. So I says, in other words, keep yourself in shape and get yourself someone that can do a lot of the stuff that you're thinking about. I says, at some point, you got to stop being the soldier and you got to be the general.
Yes.
And you got to direct the troops.
Visionaries and implementers, right?
Yeah.
You always, Simon Sinek talks about this and Start With Why. There's a number of different people in the field that discuss. There are certain people that are really great at coming up with ideas, at seeing the future.
Yeah.
There are other people that are really great at being in the present and executing on whatever the plan is. And that's their life. They love checking boxes and making sure stuff gets done the way it's supposed to get done. You have to know which one you are, and you have to find someone that is your opposite. So if you are an implementer, and Patrick Bet-David talks about this all the time, you might be a great entrepreneur. You might be a great number two. You might want to be somebody's COO, somebody's CFO, right? Somebody's director of operations, whatever the case may be, because your skill set is in, oh, here's what we need to do, getting it done. But you hate having to come up with what we need to do. You hate having to think about what we need to do. A lot of the people on my staff, they'll come to me and they're like, just tell me what to do, right? Because I'm always trying to get them to think. I'm always trying to get them to see. I'm always trying to build them and get them there. Sometimes they'll get frustrated. Like, just tell me what I need to do. Like, I don't even want to think about what you're thinking, because I know that there's 50 million things. Just tell me what I need to do. And it's interesting because some people, that's where they are. That's what they're comfortable with. That's what they're really great at. And you have to understand it. If you're a visionary, if you're in the entrepreneur space, this is one of the things that is hard for entrepreneurs to do, because we also get into that perfectionist space and into that can't nobody do it as good as I can do it space, which is just a fallacy. You need to understand it. If you have a vision, of something big, it's going to require more than you. It's going to be bigger than you.
That's right.
And so you got to get good at finding those people and putting them in position to be successful at making your vision come true.
And you know, and we hear this in so many different ways, right? Get yourself a team, right? But then, like you said earlier, sometimes you just don't trust. I had an entrepreneur the other day says, I would like to show someone how to do this thing, but I'm afraid they might take it and go run off and you know, create it for themselves. I says, well, that's always a risk. I says, however, here you are not being able to scale. You heard that term before, everybody, and not being able to grow. I said, so what if you did it this way? If you says, and if we do well, we'll create your own division. Now what you've done is taken them from working for you to being incentivized to create a good product so they can work for themselves.
Yeah.
We saw, imagine, see how Oprah did it, right? She had Dr. Oz on the show, created some controversy, right? He said some things, people were like, what? Next thing you know, he's got his own show. Who else? Rachel Ray. Where'd they start off? Now, have they been talented in their own right? Absolutely. But did they get on a larger platform, test out some stuff? You guys hearing what I'm talking about? Dr. Phil, what did he do? Hey, this is what I do for a living. You know, I make a certain amount of money. I go on a platform that's bigger audience, and they go, we like that guy. Next thing you know, that guy's got his own thing going. What did she do? She created Harpo Productions, and now Harpo Productions produces each one of these shows, and she's making money. Not all of the money was her coming on every week. And, you know, she did that for a long time. She's like, look, I was tired of coming on every week. It got to be.
When you're the talent, you have a job.
And she started making more money when she stepped away and started letting others take it here, take it there, take it here.
Andrew Carnegie said this,
work for free
100
and get paid.
And 20 years ago, 130 years ago. I would rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own effort.
Did y'all hear what he just said now? Now I'm getting excited, and you'll probably see this on, on the thumbnail. It'd be like me going like this. This is what is all about. The work for free to get paid. Can your business work for free? The metaphor in that, the ideal in that is, will you do a thing now that you may not charge your top dollar for, so that you can get the practice, so that you can develop the patience, so that you can extract the profits, so that you can grow the business,
so that you can then own the business instead of owning a job.
That's it. We know, Rob, we're gonna have to put this for another podcast. When you have just created yourself a job and not a business, right? And you're feeling good about that job because you own it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's freedom in being able to do your own thing. But if you want to grow to a certain level, if you want to get to a point where you're not the only input there, right? If it goes away, so do you.
Exactly.
Right? And this is funny. I was doing a consulting earlier this week, and the lady was talking about, well, what do I do for, after me?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I know I can't get into much of it because I'm under some confidentiality, but here is just an idea that you're building the process to profits. You build the products. You didn't just give it away, right? You didn't just give it away. You captured it. And now it becomes like a little mutual fund out there for you. It's the reason why, I do blogs. It's the reason why I write my books, right? Are all of them bestsellers? Don't have to be.
Don't need to be.
There are a little mutual fund out there that returns this, that can be pulled in. And I talked about this.
Wait! Don't get too much into it yet. I want to find out whether the people want to hear about this though, because I will get excited. You will get excited about this, but I want to know from the listeners. Give us a thumbs up if you think that owning a business, owning a system is better, right? And gives you more freedom. Give us a thumbs down if you think that owning your work, owning your job, owning your masters, all the rest of that type of stuff, being able to be out there and do your own thing, if you think that's what's more important. Thumbs up if owning the system and not having to do the work is more important, or thumbs down if you think that it's better to do it yourself. You can do it right. You can do it best. You're the person that needs to be doing it. Let's see what's out there. And if you all want to hear about that, right? If the thumbs up get it and we hear about business systems, Randy and I'll come on and we'll talk more about business systems and how, as Kevin O'Leary on Shark Tank says, how you can send your money out as little soldiers to bring more money back for you, to take captives and bring them back, right? And to keep doing that. But I want to hear from you all. Tell us.
I'm curious to see how that looks too, right? I'm curious to see what people respond to on that. And it just becomes that really great opportunity, everybody, to think a little bit bigger than what you might be doing. This is something that Rob and I do when we go into different companies, right? Whether individually or together, is just helping them think differently, think bigger, think process to profits, think what they can pull off, what you can peel off, who they can give it to, et cetera, et cetera. Who is the excited executive that you have underutilized that could be running whole divisions, growing those divisions, doing it on your dime, because it becomes a different kind of R&D.
Yes.
Right. And I know we talk about the individual entrepreneur, but we also talk about the business, the SMEs that are out there doing their thing, but haven't grown, that are stagnant.
Yes.
And they don't know why. We come in there and go, okay, this is why.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Rob comes in with his experience of process. I come in, well, this is profits, process to profits.
There you
go. So we want to hear from you. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Right. So you guys leave us that information. And if you're watching this in the YouTube channel, you got an opportunity to put it right there in the comment section. But if you're hearing this, you can send us an email. It's twobusinessguysmastermind@gmail.com. twobusinessguysmastermind@gmail.com. You can send us a little note and say, I think you guys are full of canal water. Here's why. That's fine. We'll respond to that.
Let us
know.
You
also can send us, hey, can you mastermind on my business, on my idea? And we will do that. I want to start seeing this. We're going to open this up for you guys. This is something that we're going to be doing new, that I'm going to literally go out and seek these comments, because the Two Business Guys love to mastermind on stuff, but we don't want to just mastermind on our stuff.
Yes.
There's a lot of times, if you're hearing us, hey, we're working out some of our own deals.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So out there in the world, give us what you got, because you can get, again, like you said, we're getting practice. Give us your stuff. We'll knock it out and you'll get free advice.
That's good stuff.
Win-win for everybody.
So Rob, we there's a lot of things that we could have talked about today, because when we get off screen or in the middle of the week before we get back together, I'm always sending Rob something, and he'll send me something. Well, look, I don't have time for that. And I'm like, of course you got time for this, or, hey, I got a process, leave me alone. I'm headed toward my profit. And I'm like, well, have you thought about this? Right. Sometimes this kind of stuff can just drive you nuts. But here's what we want you to really take away from today, is that, yes, you can work for free to get paid. Right. We've given you some systems. We've given you some examples, right? Our own and outside of that. Use it, break it apart, and apply the principles that you have found from that breaking apart process, and apply it to your business, and let us know how it goes. Right. I heard something on one of my groups that says, don't judge the coach by how much money they make. Judge the coach by how much money they make others.
Exactly.
Right. And
bars.
Did y'all just hear that?
Drop the mic.
Did y'all just hear that? So how are you taking what we're talking about and applying that stuff? And then going, oh my gosh, I don't know where I heard it. Yes, you did. You got it from the Two Business Guys when we were masterminding on something. How is that now helping you go into your areas? How is what you heard can be used, get this, can be used to now go to your client and say, hey, I'd like to try something. I heard it this weekend. I'd like to try something. And they give you the opportunity to try it. So you get a practice on their dime. You work for free.
Yes.
And then you get paid.
Yes. And then you get paid. So in the comments, for those of you all to take this out, go try it this week. Go try it this month. Make it happen. Put us in the comments. Let us know exactly what happened. Let us know what job you got, what deal you got, and how you use that testimonial, right? If you've done it in the past, or if you do it this week, we want to hear about it. We want to see about it. So have a great rest of your week. And remember, that everything you do, you need to be figuring out, as Randy loves to say, how to monetize your life.
Monetize it. You can do it. Productize it. It's right there in front of you.
There we
Just
go.
telling you. Okay, guys, we'll talk
All
to
right.
you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.